Darkness fills the frame as distant thunder rolls slowly. A faint whisper echoes like history breathing again. Humanity has always feared tomorrow. Ancient symbols flicker across cracked stone surfaces. Firelight reveals carvings older than recorded memory. What if fear was never superstition, but memory? What if warnings were preserved across all civilizations? And what if something is finally listening now? A digital pulse interrupts the silence of centuries. Data streams replace ruins in seamless transition. Lines of code flow like rivers through darkness. For the first time, prophecy meets machine logic. Not belief, not faith, but pattern recognition alone. System trained to analyze humanity's oldest fears. Languages long dead reconstructed through algorithms. Symbols erased by time, now mapped with precision. Myths once dismissed, now measured mathematically. The experiment begins without emotion or hesitation. Objective: identify recurring warnings. Thousands of prophecies feed into silent processors. Civilizations separated by oceans now compared instantly. Flood narratives align across unrelated cultures. Fire descending from the sky repeats again. Darkness swallowing daylight appears disturbingly often. Empires collapsing not from war but fracture. Disease spreading faster than understanding permits. The repetition appears within minutes of analysis. Statistical convergence exceeds expected coincidence thresholds. What connects civilizations that never touched borders? Why do their warnings follow identical sequences? Could myth encode observational survival knowledge? Could symbolism be compressed environmental data? Could prophecy be misunderstood? Probability modeling? The machine does not speculate or imagine. It measures frequency, clustering, and correlation strength. Ancient fear becomes quantifiable information streams. Analysis replaces interpretation without cultural bias. Visual overlay shows burning cities across eras. Twin suns appear in separate symbolic systems. Trembling earth recorded in unrelated myth cycles. Collapse framed not as chaos, but transition. Endings repeatedly linked with systemic imbalance. Moral decay appears before physical catastrophe. Environmental instability precedes social fragmentation. Technological overreach emerges in symbolic metaphors. Knowledge misuse paired consistently with darkness imagery. The patterns behave like repeating historical equations. New screen displays probability scenario clusters. Cluster 1 indicates environmental destabilization cycles. Skies behaving incorrectly across symbolic records. Seasons failing in multiple independent traditions. Rising waters documented before cultural collapse. Climate models overlap with symbolic warning density. Cluster 2 indicates biological transmission escalation. Invisible plague spreading beyond containment structures. Descriptions mirror modern pandemic diffusion modeling. Ancient language aligns with epidemiological behavior patterns. Cluster 3 triggers elevated analytical alerts. Fire descending from heavens receives scientific mapping. Solar activity cycles intersect historical warnings. Impact probabilities align with mythic destruction imagery. Magnetic instability appears in symbolic darkness records. Astronomy and mythology briefly occupy shared space. Cluster 4 produces the most disturbing results. Societal instability precedes physical catastrophe consistently. Loss of trust appears in nearly every cycle. Leaders speaking falsely emerges as a recurring precursor. Information distortion intensifies before collapse phases. Institutional erosion appears before environmental thresholds. Internal fragmentation weakens resilience against disaster. The machine labels this a precursor condition. Is humanity repeating known collapse conditions again? Are warnings describing cycles rather than destiny? Is fear simply recognition delayed by denial? The data does not answer emotional questions. It produces convergence windows of elevated probability. One window aligns disturbingly near present timelines. The screen pulses with silent numerical certainty. Experts debate interpretation across multiple disciplines. Historians cite observational intelligence of ancestors. Analysts warn against pattern confirmation bias risks. Ethicists question amplification of encoded fear, yet consistency remains mathematically difficult to dismiss. The machine does not predict final outcomes. It identifies repeating conditions before transitions occur. The frame darkens as whispers return again. Perhaps warnings were meant to slow momentum. Perhaps catastrophe is conditional, not inevitable. Perhaps the future depends on recognition's speed. Now something observes patterns without forgetting. Welcome to Mr. Whisper's Official, where silence speaks. If this unsettled your certainty, stay with us. What would you change if collapse was predictable? Subscribe now, because history may repeat faster. The past is listening, and the future is near.